I flew into LaGuardia, New York, and I needed to get to Midtown. And so I stood in line for a cab, and you know, you go into New York these days, and you get into a cab, and you're lucky that the cabbie speaks English. I got a cab driver that spoke English that day, and he asked me where I was headed. And as he asked me where I was headed, he handed me a card, and on the card it said, "My mission is to get you to your destination as quickly, comfortably, and pleasurably as I possibly can." I'm like, I teach this to companies, and a New York cab driver has a mission statement. And so they blew me away, and so I gave him the card back, and he gave me a choice of 3 newspapers. He said, "I've got the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the USA Today. While we're driving into Midtown, would you care for a paper?" And as I'm taking the USA Today, I'm looking out the window to see if David Letterman is filming this, because it's got to be a joke. And so I took the USA Today, and then he handed me another card, and he said, on the card it said, "I've pre-programmed the radio station to these 4 channels. I've got business and classical and pop and sports, and if you'd like, I'll tune it into any one of those, or I can turn the radio off." And I said, "You know what? You need to take this paper back, take this card back, turn that radio off. You and I need to talk." I said, "Who's making you do this?" He said, "Making me do this?" I said, "Yeah, are all the cabs in New York doing this these days?" He said, "You kidding me? You're lucky to get somebody that speaks English." I said, "My goodness, how did you come about all this?" He said, "You know what?" He said, I live in New York. By choice, I drive a cab. And I think New York City is the greatest city in the whole world. And therefore, I'm positioned to be able to build myself into being the greatest cab driver in the world. And I think it's really about sales and service. So on my downtime, I read all these books and get these ideas. And I incorporate them into my deal. And then he turned to me and he offered me in this little basket, you know those little bags of pretzels and peanuts they serve on airplanes? He said, "Would you like a snack?" And I went, "Man, you're done. You're over the top." I said, here, I don't know why, but here, would you take one of my cards? I don't know how else to make a connection with you. And he started laughing and he said, "Look up here on the front seat." And up on the front seat, there were boxes and boxes of business cards that people had given him. And then he hit me with his move. And he said, here's 10 of mine. If you were pleased with my service today, give them out to other friends of yours. And I'll tell you what you experienced today was really out of the ordinary. And I'm going, "No kidding." And he goes, No. I mean, picking you up like I did was out of the ordinary for me. In fact, in sales, they would call it a cold call. And I don't tend to make many anymore. You see, if you use this number and call it and tell me when your flight is coming in on what day and what time, I can meet you at the baggage area with a white sign with your name on it. And I can avoid waiting in line with the other cabbies that stay there for over 2 hours. So I get to my destination for the first time ever quicker than I want to, because I don't want to leave. And I got out and I thought, you know what? I already told this guy I'm a speaker. And I said, "Would you mind if I told your story to people like I'm sharing with you today?" And he said, "No, that would be fine." And I got out of the cab and I reached into my pocket to pay the fare, and I took out $40 for a tip. It was equal to the fare. And because I felt like I got an education. And I said, "You got to be killing them on tips." He said, "If you ever tell a group of people about this, I want you to share with them this. I'm killing them on tips." Wait a minute. But then he said, "If you stop there, you will have done them all a disservice." He said, make sure you tell him this. I didn't do it for the money. I did it to be the greatest cab driver in the world. And then the money followed. Be the best darn staffing company in the world. Thank you for listening.